What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to Wednesday evening's Anfield Agenda News Roundup. I'm going to give you the latest on Ibrahim Konate's future. We're going to talk about David Coote being charged, and not by the FA this time, the police. We're also going to delve into the lowballing offers that we received from Leipzig for Harvey Elliott. We'll talk about Adam Morton and a couple of other interesting bits and pieces that we hope will keep you up to date as we look ahead to the Reds game then against Burnley coming up on Sunday. So, I'm going to do my part, but of course I want to know your thoughts on all of these stories. So please feel free to let me know in the comment section. I hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, don't forget to hit that like button. And of course, we'd love you to subscribe. So, we do have a lot to get through, and I'm going to kick off today with a story from the Echo about the changing and evolving roles behind the scenes at Anfield and at the AXA Training Centre as Liverpool now look to recruit some more staff for Arne Slot. They said the changing face of the coaching staff is set to continue, with Liverpool looking to take on both a physical performance analyst and a first-team physical performance coach. The analyst role will focus on issues like sleep hygiene amongst the squad, and also monitoring training loads and subjective wellness every 2 months within the ranks. You can see here, football really is evolving. Talking about sleep hygiene, that's a phrase I've never heard of before. Players will gain assistance with individual recovery sessions, while testing will also be carried out on the squad before they commence their training at the AXA training facility. The successful candidate will also be asked to provide live GPS feedback during pitch sessions, including drill sprints and analysis of movement during workouts, and findings from the GPS data will be used to inform future team and rehabilitation sessions to improve performance. Football, and Liverpool in particular, really are leaning into the whole sports science side of it, and I love it. Anything that can give you that 1-2% edge in professional sport is always welcome. Now, Chris Bascom has been speaking a bit about when we can expect to see Giovanni Leone make his bow in a Liverpool shirt. Chris in the Telegraph writes that Giovanni Leone is already penciled in to make his debut against Southampton in the League Cup later this month. So we play Southampton not this Tuesday coming up. It's the week after the Atleti game, so it is basically 2 weeks from yesterday that we expect to see him at least start against Southampton. And I would say you could probably expect to see other players like Rio and Gamoa, maybe Trey Neone, and a few other fringe players get their appearance. You'd probably see Chiesa penciled in there as well. And while we're speaking about Federico, Gazzetta Italia said that Federico Chiesa decided to reject loan moves to Napoli and Inter Milan and instead stay put at Liverpool because he wants to compete with top players at Anfield, they report. He's determined to prove himself to Arne Slot, and I hope he does. I think we all hope he does. We all have a soft spot for Federico. Good news that he is around and is still an option for the manager, so let's hope he gets utilised this season. Moving on now to Harvey Elliott, and I mentioned some lowballing offers from RB Leipzig, and I've got to say I'm absolutely confused by this one, folks, because everybody all summer knew what Liverpool wanted for Harvey Elliott, and we were waiting around because, of course, they needed to sell Xavi Simons to free up that money. So we thought, look, they know the price for Elliott. Surely when they come in with an offer, it'll be a reasonable one. Apparently not. James Pearce said RB Leipzig made a €20 million or £17.3 million bid for Harvey Elliott this summer, which of course Liverpool rejected. Everybody knew what Liverpool wanted, somewhere in and around the 40 million mark if there is a buyback option in there, and a bit higher if they didn't. James Pearce also went on to say Liverpool will miss Harvey Elliott, but this Anfield story may not be finished yet, with a buyback clause inserted into his move to Aston Villa should it become permanent. Look, it is a good move from Aston Villa, are a great club, great fan base, and I think they will love Harvey Elliott. I do hope, though, I'm not going to lie about it, I do hope we trigger that buyback clause in the future, because I'm a big fan of Harvey Elliott. Right, team talk now. They've been posting about Liverpool and their interest in Adam Morton. They write that Liverpool and Newcastle United are amongst the clubs joining the race to sign Adam Morton, with Chelsea and Manchester United also among the interested parties. I think you could probably throw Real Madrid's name into that mix as well, but do keep an eye on this one because I think it might have some legs to it. It's right that Liverpool should be looking for a homegrown player like Adam Morton in a position where we don't have enough depth. So I'm excited by it, and I hope if we do enter into the race that we can win it, as we have done with the likes of Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak. Now, a bit of a sensitive story here, but it is our job to report all news around Liverpool Football Club and sometimes football in general. And this, Breaking, former Premier League referee David Coote has been charged that he made one indecent video of a child in Category A on January the 2nd, 2020. Category A, they go on to say, is the most serious category and typically shows young children being abused by adults. So, again, you can find more information on this story on the likes of Sky Sports and many others. And I just want to say, remember when Sky Sports brought him on for his sob story interview about him struggling with his sexuality and turning to drugs and all this very understandable stuff? Well, this is why you want the full story to come out before we see the charm offensive, because we already had to listen to people telling us we can't be having conspiracy theories about referees or whatever, which I understand, but we also can't just believe that everybody is great all the time and that there aren't any bad apples amongst any group, whether it be referees, YouTubers, policemen, ambulance drivers, pizza delivery drivers. It doesn't matter. A lot of drivers in there though, Craig. Why are we focusing on drivers? I've nothing against drivers. I used to be one. Anyway, just needed to bring it to you because of course it is newsworthy. This piece here from Mario Cartagena said that Real Madrid believe that Ibrahim Konate wants to play for them. More from Marca on this story. They say it seems like Konate will follow the same path Trent Alexander-Arnold took, with Real Madrid having already made contact with the player as they have him at the top of their list to Saliba. Now, I don't think they're going to get William Saliba, but let's wait and see on that one. I hope they don't get Konate either. The latter has a contract until 2027, Saliba making it more unlikely. I've said this all summer. This was the one thing I didn't want to happen this season, was for us to have to go through an entire season again, listening to the will they, won't they stuff with another player in Real Madrid. And it's only going to get worse as the season goes on and as January approaches, and particularly when we play Real Madrid. In and around that game, you're going to see many more column inches dedicated to Ibrahim Konate not being, focused at Liverpool, wanting to go to Real Madrid, and I would be amazed if Konate plays that game against Real Madrid. Arne Slot has to remember what happened with Trent and look at it and think that's a game that he can turn to. Has to use Joe Gomez or Giovanni Leone, in my opinion. For the rest of the season, look, I trust the manager's judgment on it. If he thinks Konate can stay focused, so be it. But it's not a good look, and it's one that's going to drag on for the entire season again. This came from an original story that said Marca said Liverpool have yet another offer to Ibrahim Konate, which has been rejected by the player. That's the third offer he's turned down. And his departure is now being taken for granted at Liverpool, and that's why they're starting to reinforce their backline. So on that one, the reason why Federico Chiesa wasn't in the Champions League squad, well, it could be a little bit more easily explained. The Echo wrote a piece on this to say if Mark Gay had have been signed, that would have allowed Liverpool to use one of the homegrown spots to be utilised by young Rio and Gamo, which would have meant we could have then used the Federico Chiesa situation to our advantage, and we would have been able to include him in the squad. But we were one too many, so we had to leave out Federico because, of course, we couldn't sign Mark Gay. So that is at least an explanation as to why Chiesa was left out of the Champions League squad. But having even looked through it myself, I found it difficult to take anybody out of that squad to justify putting them in because, well, they all had a very valid reason to be in there. So that is it for now, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, love to know your thoughts on the Konate situation, the Harvey Elliott lowballing offer, and of course anything else that we've covered in this video that you'd like to share your thoughts on. We will be back tonight, 8:45 with the late night agenda as always. Can't wait to catch up with you guys and have another lovely evening. We'll talk to you then. Take care. Bye-bye.